PWCC is a great way to sell your sports cards. If you're looking for a way to support the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel, consider using the promo code CAJUN, all caps, CAJUN, when you're selling your cards on the PWCC marketplace. All right, we're in another, this is episode number 2 of Hierarchy Revisited. We're trying to do this live stream as has become customary for me, Josh. I decided to go live stream like at the last minute. So 20 minutes ago, I was like, why don't we just do this live? Maybe somebody will stumble onto it. I posted one little deal on Instagram stories. Maybe somebody will wander over here onto YouTube and check us out. But anybody who missed the first episode, go check it out. This is, again, we've got a playlist here. I've got Josh Dawson at Northeast Sports Cards, who's a frequent recurring guest, basically a co-owner of the channel about this point, right, Josh?
Yep. For the hierarchy, yes.
Yes, for the hierarchy, for sure. So if you missed episode 1, go back and check it out. Obviously, finish watching this one first. We're going to do it live. We've got one person in here. We had 2, and then somebody realized, wow, that guy's ugly. I'm getting the hell out of here before something terrible happens. But I think it'll grow a little bit, despite the fact that I'm awful at giving people advance notice. We've got a little script here, and most of the people who do join us on live stream are going to miss this, but we're going to talk a little bit about, on Card Ladder, the indexes. We're going to look at the basketball index, the Jordan index, and then we're going to look at a few Jordan cards that have made some moves over the last 3 months. And then we're going to talk about what cards you and I have added to our collection. Again, this is going to be Jordan-centric. We are talking almost exclusively about Michael Jordan cards today. Then we're going to go through solicited Instagram followers of mine to give us some questions, anything or even just topics of discussion, and they come out of the weeds en masse. And so I've got about 7 or 8 really good questions that I chose, and we'll shout out the folks that submitted those questions, and I'll let you answer them because you're the smart one here. I'm just the guy with the big mouth. And then at the end of that, we'll talk about anything and everything else. We're probably looking to go a little, maybe a shade at over an hour, right at an hour. Ray's here. Yeah, you guys are a little late. Ray is a great follower, a great watcher of the show. And this says, why didn't you press like? I don't know what that means. I don't know what the weed tea means, but it sounds naughty. Anyway, all right. So let's get cranking. Let's look at the MJ index. I'm going to screen share without you even having to remind me, Josh. Here's our indexes. I don't know if you ever mess with this. I know you're a Card Ladder Pro member, of course. Our good friend Chris and Christina and the other Josh, the fake Josh, JV Josh, we'll call him, of Card Ladder fame. I use Card Ladder for all my stuff. I know you like to use it as well. I like looking at the indexes because it gives you a nice little macro view. I get kind of almost too hyper-focused on the Jordan collecting stuff, and I forget to take a macro look or a step back and look at the hobby. You know what I mean? Because not all of it interests me. And these indexes are a great way to do that.
And it depends how long you've been collecting, right? How long you look back. It's kind of like when you entered, you can only look back that far. But if you really zoom back, you can see, the true scale of progression.
Here's 1 year, right? Blood red, dead, ugly, gross. It's not a surprise, Josh. Almost every index double digits down, right? In the dead red, right? If we go to 6 months, we get some green creeping in, and the double digits sort of shrink down to single digits, right? And then when we get down to 3 months, now we start seeing a little bit more green. That to me is a trend. And I've never been accused of being pessimistic. If anything, I am overly optimistic, Josh, but I like the look of it. And again, Star Wars doesn't matter to me. Hockey doesn't matter to me. Mid-end matters, of course it can, because it could include basketball cards. Tennis, don't care. Card Ladder 50, somewhat matters to me. You and I have some Card Ladder 50 cards.
Yep.
But even though we're going to talk about basketball, and even though we're going to hyper-focus on Michael Jordan basketball, it's good to see some hobby momentum. And I think a lot of that has to do with the economy somewhat beginning the rebound. And there's just some general optimism out there, not just in the hobby, but in the world, I think. So anyway, and welcome, Weed Tea. I'm glad it's your first live with me because it's like my 3rd live ever. So you and I are both almost live virgins doing this thing. Josh, is that a trend? Do you feel different about basketball cards? Like your perception, is it different over the last 3 months, 6 months, maybe?
I know you and I have talked about this offline, but I think, everybody's trying to time the bottom, right? And everybody
Yeah.
talking about where's the bottom. I think we're kind of in that range, right? I think some things have already hit the bottom. They're starting to peak back up. That's where you see greens. Some things are still on the decline. So we're in that area, though, because I just don't think we're going to see double-digit declines from here.
Here's the thing. For 2 years, I've been doing this channel. And for 2 years, all I've gotten to talk about was how cards were going down, including Michael Jordan cards, right? Michael Jordan is not immune from market resets. I always say, and every episode I do, I'm like, I'm having so much fun doing this, Josh. I'm having so much fun creating content. I'm having so much fun doing these videos, talking about Jordan cards. Can you imagine how much fun it's going to be when the damn cards actually start increasing in value? Not because we're going to flip them, but it just gives you a little more sense of confidence and a little more comfort. And it's fun to hear good stories from other people in the hobby. Even the investor types making money on sports cards. We're in a group where, the word investor is oftentimes thrown around in a defamatory way, and it's frowned upon. But I have no problem telling anybody who will listen that I am a hybrid investor collector. Nobody wants to buy cards that are going to go down from the day you bought them. Nobody wants to do that. And we're all looking to find cards at the right price. So I think this is a good indication. Basketball over the last 3 months is essentially flat. It's minus 1.04. And again, remember, the shorter you shrink a window on any index, the less deviation you're going to be able to have because there's fewer data points and just less time, right? But let's talk more specifically about the MJ index. I didn't show it, but the MJ index, I think it's up 4% or a little over 4% over the last 90 days. Again, if you don't know what an index is, or you want to know the constituent parts of the Michael Jordan index on Card Ladder, it's not every Jordan card in the world, but it is a good chunk of Jordan cards from $20 to probably $5 million if you include the PMG green, whatever. So Jordan up 4%. That's good considering we saw it down double figures for a while there. And so I thought this was interesting, Josh. Again, we were talking about this right before we came on, supply and demand, right? I don't mean to simplify things, but we like to collect the rarest of the rare. And if the card's not rare enough, we like to collect it in a high grade to make it rare. Okay. Sure. But we oftentimes maybe hyper-focus on supply. Maybe we hyper-focus on pack odds, and we forget about the demand side of it. And again, we swim in different waters than most probably Jordan collectors. And so we tend to hyper-focus on the real high-dollar stuff and chasing the big dogs, the tier ones, the tier twos. But we forget there's a hell of a lot of fun to be had in tier 3 and tier 4. And I think this is a great example. So these are the best performing Michael Jordan cards that are in Card Ladder, right? There's other cards that's not in the Card Ladder database. BGS 9.5 or PSA 10. So both big grading companies, gem only. More than $250 over the last 90 days. Is that a mouthful? Did we get that? What a surprise. Look, at 2 of the top 3 are the 86 Fleer number 57, right? And again, I do want to caution people because when we look at these things, you tend to say, holy crap, the BGS 9.5 Jordan is up 178%. Like that's over 2x. But when we click it, and you can do this on Card Ladder, when we click it and we go look, and we find the graph, I think it's just an incredibly exceptional copy. I don't think I would expect the next one to sell for $76,000. Would you?
The difference is with BGS, you have variations of a 9.5 versus a PSA 10 is a PSA 10. Yes, you can have cleaner and not as nice copies of PSA 10s, but they're the same grade. With BGS, you have mini gems, true gems, gem plus. So there's, you got to look at that component of it almost.
Yeah. Josh, maybe we went from a real weak, I've got I'm hovering here. Maybe we went from a really weak min gem with a 9 for centering at 27,000. And then here we are, a month and a half later, that could have been a gem plus with some, deep pockets guy who thinks he's going to be able to crack that or maybe cross it to a PSA 10, which, by the way, is also on the list. There's your PSA 10 copy. There's your graph. Now, this, if anything, is a graph where I think I'm going to cool the jets right here, okay? Because the card was a consistent 200. And again, I do think we hit the floor on the PSA 10. 195, 216, and then it jumped to 372. I thought that was absolute insanity, and it happened on Heritage. And I get it. There's a nice little fancy little NBA gold sticker, but Josh, what are we talking about? That's kind of nutso, right?
Yeah, no, I think the true value is in that 215 to 225 range.
Yeah. And I've lost my place, and I should have.
And those NBA stickers, that's an interesting topic too, right? People do value them.
How do you feel about it?
I have none, but it's not because I don't like them or don't think they're valuable. In fact, I'm considering giving some of my nicer copies to Mike Baker and seeing if I can get an NBA sticker, because they do add value. Obviously, any sale you see with a gold or black label on it does increase the premium.
Listen, it's not an opinion. It adds value. The opinion is whether you think it should or shouldn't. That's an opinion, right? And that can be debated. But does it add value? Is not. There's data to support those suckers add value. The gold ones, the black ones, of course, but the gold ones add value. Should it? I don't know. But there's a lot of topics like that in the hobby. I mean, dude, we can talk about PSA 10 versus BGS 9.5 Gem Plus. We could talk about BGS 10s and how much more valuable those are than PSA 10s. And, whether they're more valuable is not up for discussion, but whether you think those things should have more or less value is always up for discussion. It
Absolutely.
makes some great content. The first insert we're going to see, Josh, and by the way, the 87 Fleer here took a jump. And again, it could have been an exceptional copy. BGS 9.5 Flare Anticipation, 3 out of the top 4, 4 out of the top 5, all BGS 9.5s look like they're running. And again, it could be attributed to your point that you made, where it's an exceptional subgrades deal where people think they can cross to a PSA 10, or maybe they just want the best BGS 9.5 they can find. The Electrified's in there. And again, that's not an insert, but it sure as hell looks the part, doesn't it? It's a subset card, but damn, that card's a good looking card. That's the card we're talking about right there. Just a really good looking card. God, that's a really good looking card. Total O Hot Packs has jumped 56% over the last 3 months. Topps Chrome Base BGS 9.5, 53%. 87 Fleer rears its ugly head again, 43% up, even though the last one's down. That's a huge card. I did not realize that card was that expensive. Good Lord. It's almost 20 grand, 17
second
grand.
year, really. I mean, if you consider the 86 the rookie, that's the second year. So
Yeah. Here, Weed T asked a question about, this is obscure. We're going to let me go throw some questions in there. Just 20 words or less. How come the McDonald's Michael Jordan cards from the 90s haven't gone up, especially the blank blacks?
Demand.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to
Demand.
Demand.
I think they're pretty cards. They got lots of color on them. I like the pink backs, the regular backs, right? And I know this talks about the blank backs. There's different variations of them, but the truth is, a lot of people just don't collect them. They weren't pack pulled. They weren't normal insert cards, so a lot of people don't like them. I have finished the set of the pink backs at this point, and I particularly do like them.
Tube Nachos is in the house. He's an awesome viewer of the channel. 40-something posts. I would rather have a pop less than 10 compared to a pop 100 plus. Well, again, here's my point. There's a Brooke Lopez Black Prism 2017 1 of 1. That's a pop 1, okay? Or would you rather that Brooke Lopez Black Prism 1 of 1, or would you rather a 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan rookie PSA 10 that's a pop 320? So that's kind of my point, is that at some point, demand overrides supply, and anybody in their right mind would always choose the more valuable card at the moment. So it's not you can't throw a catch-all out there. It's kind of my point, 40-something. And by the way, that is an awesome avatar there with a nice Fody in the background. Frequent Flyers Club, Josh, 41.3% up. How about slam dunking in space? Do you mess with these? Do you mess with these 1993 Nike Warner?
I have that card. Absolutely, yeah. I have that card. I do like those. In fact, I just picked up another version of that card.
45. Look at this.
Yeah, they're tough.
Yeah, a tough card. That might be the highest anybody's ever paid. No. Somebody shelled out 1372 way back when. I've got that card as well. How many of those are there, Josh? I can't remember. It's like 6 or 8. I think it's 6.
I don't know how many there are. I just got the one with the spaceship in the middle where Jordan's riding along, so I just picked up that one.
Yep.
I picked up some other Space Jam cards I'll show later that are part of my new pickups.
Josh, look at this. The 1990 Hoops base number 65. Literally the most, it's not even the first Hoops. It's the second Hoops, or third if you count the Superstars, or maybe the Superstars came after. But it's like a 12-cent card raw, right? PSA 10's a pop $6.97. So there's buku, right? There's tons of them out there. There's plenty of data points. Look at this card over the last 3 months. Why would that card be rising? It's up 6 out of the last 7 sales. Can you explain that? Is that just
not exactly? Although it's affordable and it's a PSA 10.
What in that there's only one word explanation for it. It has to be demand, obviously, because supply is going up. It's not going to go down.
Right.
The supply is stagnant and or going up. That means there are new people coming into or people transitioning from one sector of the hobby into Michael Jordan cards, and maybe they're thinking, you know what, I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Maybe I'm going to start back in time and work chronologically. Maybe I'm going to start with the Star. Maybe I'm going to start with the most affordable late 80s, Fleer or Hoops or Skybox and kind of work their way up like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just my thought. But I'll tell you this. If we look at the next card, it's the 88 Fleer PSA 10. So we've seen 86 Fleer PSA 10, 87 Fleer PSA 10, 88 Fleer PSA 10, all with noticeable increases over the last 90 days. And that's a serious increase, man. I mean, you're talking about a card that was $29.50 90 days ago selling for $4,000. That's
3K to 4K is a 25% increase, right? I mean, this is not
35.59%. That's a big number, man.
Yeah.
All right, enough on indexes. Let's talk about some of the cards that we added. You want to go first? You've added some cards, not very many hierarchy cards, and again,
not many hierarchy cards.
Just to let the people know, you're missing like 11 out of like 350. So this is going to be my show, where I share all the cards that I'm missing that I found. I've just got a lot more that I can find. Right? You've got like 10 searches.
Yeah, not all these are hierarchy cards, but this is one I did pick up that is a hierarchy card. This is the No Protector. Finest card, and the way this looks different than the normal one is because it's metallic on the back, so it's not paper on the back, and this one's very tough because it is a No Protector. They do make a refractor of this too, which I still do not have. This guy is not a hierarchy card, but I like these Jordan bat cards. They're baseball cards. Same with this, not hierarchy because it falls out of the years, but this is a 2-color wooden floor, which I thought was very cool because I had the DC.
I've never seen that, man. That's badass, man.
So 2-color with the DC on the floor. I thought this was really cool.
What product is that? I can't see. What product is that?
Oh, Hardcourt.
Okay, yeah. Upper Deck Hardcourt is really cool stuff, man.
I mean, the Wizard stuff I still like. A lot of people don't. These are some of the rare Space Jam cards. These are they're called Jordan Silver Screen.
Yeah.
So they have it's a really embossed at the bottom. You can even see through the card here how embossed it is.
Yeah.
So this bottom piece is really crazy embossed. So I really like these. I picked up a couple of those different ones. They make a lot of them. Oddball.
Oh, Josh, those are in the set registry that you're chasing the super?
Yeah.
The silver screen?
Those guys on the set registry, very odd. America's Best National Promo. It's a promo card. It's numbered out of 7,500.
Yeah.
Oddball. And then Space Jam cards. Little Space Jam cards that are pretty inexpensive. Don't care if they're 8s or 10s or whatever. These guys with the silver around them are a little bit tougher.
Yep.
But picking up some of these little Space Jam cards, and then the last one is a oddball again. This is a cereal card.
I've got that. That was in the cross country collection. I need to send that in, I guess, don't I?
Yeah, this is 1991 Pro Cereal Stars. So
what'd you pay for that 7? You think? Do you remember?
What's that?
What'd you pay for that? Is that a 7 or a 9?
9.
Oh yeah. What'd you pay for the 9? You think?
$200.
That's crazy. There's probably not that many of them graded out there.
Yeah, it's just a tough card. It's all black bordered. It's real hard to grade.
Yeah. Look, 40-something comments, and he clarifies. Hop Hop scares me. Luca Zion. Yes, no question. 20,000 is, I don't care who you are. Like, you could be the Pope or you could be, the most famous person that ever walked the face of the earth. That's too many. He considers everything under 100 rare. And that's funny because that's a different, that threshold of what is rare, what is collectible, what should be collected, what I should put in my PC, it varies, and it's all in the eye of the beholder. 40-something, how many Luca and Zion, how many Zion cards do you own?
10.
I own 0. How many Luka cards do you own?
5.
Yeah.
Even less.
I own maybe 11. I actually bought a Luka card in the last 2 weeks.
To 40-something's point, even be careful of brand new Wemby cards that are base cards. If they're not rare, they're not numbered, they're going to explode in population, no matter who the player is, no matter how much you like him. And I am a Wemby fan. I just am so scared of buying a base of anything because the population will explode. The good thing about Jordan is not just Jordan. It's Garnett. It's Kobe. It's anybody, Iverson, any of the 90s guys. The population is going to go up over time, but very slowly, and it's not going to spike like it will with new guys.
Yeah, we've had a 30-year run of if you wanted to grade it. And, again, I can testify to the fact that, I've been flipping through this 100,000 now card collection and submitting everything that I thought looked good. And people can go watch my PSA grade reveal videos. And some videos I do very well. And when I say very well, I mean 25% Jim. That's very, very good. That is pie in the sky, phenomenal on 90s Jordan stuff, in my opinion. And then some videos, Josh, I've gone 0 for 50, 1 for 50. And the one might be some chintzy little collector's choice base card, So I think you're right. I think that and I don't want to limit it to base. I am going to warn people out there who are buying Wembanyama cards, and I'm as high on Wembanyama as anybody. I think he's going to be the best player on planet Earth in 18 months. I am probably more pro Wemby than anybody out there. In 18 months, I think he's the best player in the NBA. He is the number 1 fantasy player over the last 30 days and the last 60 days. Just to put it in perspective, playing on the shittiest team that man's ever seen. So, again, that's a whole nother video we could do about please be careful with Wemby. Joe is a great viewer of the channel, and Joe says a wonderful ultramodern money pivots to MJ as more and more people lose money on Trae Young and, DeAndre Hunter and pretty much every other Atlanta Hawk that won't end up being GOAT level status, I think so. And that's kind of why we collect. That's kind of how I arrived at Michael Jordan, because I was flipping Giannis and Luka and Donovan Mitchell and, yes, don't laugh, Ben Simmons. I made money on Ben Simmons. So I was flipping these guys and just repeating. Yeah. So, and making money on Anthony Simons and prospecting. And it was a blast. But the days where you could, pick up hundreds of those guys for pennies on the dollar coming out of the gate, that shit's over. Like, you're paying hundreds of dollars for Amen Thompson cards now and crap like that. And these are good players, but I mean, they're not the next Jordan, right? So that's kind of how I got to Jordan, Josh, is I started to realize, shit, this is getting different. This is a whole different world now. The stuff I was doing in 2017 and 18, Josh, 19 even, I can't do that anymore post-pandemic. I'm going to put my money in the player who I think is the greatest team sports player that's ever lived. I want to put it in, a cards where you're right. The pop reports have settled and saturated, and they may go up, but they ain't going to go up crazy. And then put it into an era where, inserts and parallels are just few and far between, and there's tons of, beautiful eye candy to choose from. And that's kind of how I gravitated back into the 90s to become, not exclusively, but damn near exclusively a 90s basketball card collector. So I agree with Joe. You've always been in Jordan. You were in Jordan from the beginning. So when you detour, you kind of dabble here and there in ultramodern stuff.
And I like the 90s. Like, I'll collect Anthony Hardaway or Vince Carter or, Stephon Marbury or somebody like that, but players I like for fun. If I'm going to truly PC a long-term card, it doesn't matter what sport, it's going to be a GOAT.
Yeah. Answer this one real quick, Josh. Alan's got a question. Any knowledge on the 1996 Stadium Club Special Forces foil versus no foil? They look the same to me. No shit. Because people
No, they're very different. So the regular version has lines going across it horizontally all the way down.
That's regular.
That's the regular version. It is still tough to grade, but the no foil version has no lines across it. It's just a smooth surface all the way down. That one, a lot of people confuse. Sometimes the flips are wrong. The PSA, I've seen PSA labels that say no foil and it has foil on it, and vice versa. So you got to be careful with the PSA label. I love the rarity of the no foil, meaning no lines on the card, and it's cleaner for me. I like the cleaner look, but that's just my take on it.
Do you think that was an accident in manufacturing, or were they intentionally printed in two variations, foil and no foil?
I think it was an accident. I think I haven't checked the top, but I can promise you the no foil is a lot less.
Yeah, I think it was an accident as well. Wait, the no foil is less?
The no foil has no lines on it, and
Okay.
it's the harder one to find.
They're all hard to find in high grade. I can tell you that right now. All right, let's get to some of these questions. We got. Oh, well, what we added. Sorry. Okay, so you've shown some cards. You got some more?
No, those are all my pickups. Nothing extravagant. I think last time I shared my eliminator and things, so that was, I'm still paying off debts.
I'm going to show mine, and I'm going to go real quick because I added a lot. It's been about a month, maybe. Josh, does that sound right? Since we recorded,
Yeah.
I've added a bunch, and there might be a little bit of overlap. So forgive me if I showed some of these on the last one. I can't remember where I stopped. The Rapper Redemption, my first and only Rapper Redemption, Josh, 1991.
Sure.
Share. There we go. Fleer 3D Rapper Redemption, PSA 7. Crazy to hold these things in hand, especially in these new PSA slabs. They're like that. That's card number 1. Mod Squad placeholder, Josh. You know I need a 10. There's not a lot of 10s out there.
I like the back better than the front, by the way.
What's that?
I like the back better than the front.
Agreed. It's got a netrageous feel to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. Mod Squad 8. A Power Boosters 9. Because again, 10s, I didn't realize 10s get you over like $2,000, something crazy, man.
Yeah.
And so that's there's a couple of power boosters, right? There's a power boosters for each of the Jordans in the base and subset cards. And so this is the active scoring leaders, card number 1, PSA 9 power boosters. Teammates, I hate that it's crooked in the slab. You know how I am. That drives me crazy. But there's 2 Jordan Teammates cards. There's a blue and a red. This is the red one, which I think pairs with Pippen, if I'm not mistaken. The blue one's more of an all-star card, and it might pair with Penny or somebody. I can't remember.
I don't know.
But I grabbed the red one. That is a good-looking card. It also appears, by the way, in the Michael Jordan hierarchy. So this is a hierarchy card as well. Every card I've shown so far. The game board, I had to just take a 9. 9's a pretty tough grade on this card.
That's a paper card, and it is really hard because the front and the back are both red. And it's red and black, rather.
Yeah.
So, and it's tough.
There's no hiding. This is a good-looking 9 copy here. I'm kind of excited about it. That I call it a placeholder, but Josh, I may never get the 10. It's just something I'm going to have to deal with just because there's so few of them. We got our spark plugs, SP2. I got a 9 because 10s, again, are hard to come by. You're talking about an extremely common, extremely inexpensive card in a PSA 8, and then an extremely valuable card in a PSA 10. It's just because there's so few of them out there. Yet another one of the Jordan cards with an electricity theme. The Electrified, the Electrifying, the Scoring Kings, the Spark Plugs. We can go down the list. There's a bazillion of them. A couple of SPX you're going to see. The Hull of You Heroes. I picked up a 9. Again, same reason. I'm just going to keep saying the same thing because 10s are miserable. And the issue with this card, you'll get some flex on the surface, Josh. Just haven't handled a bunch of these in raw and tried to submit them to PSA and gotten kicked betwixt my nuggets. The surface is an issue, but primarily it's the back edges. Even though it's a forgiving die cut, it's not sharp, like most SPX, like the crazy pointy stuff. These edges still just shred, man. They just shred. So they're hard to get 10s. This one I'm not even going to talk about. You've talked about it enough. I think it's ugly as hell. I know you love it, but I think it's ugly.
I think they're just cool because of how they were actually received.
How you obtain one and how they look in your hand and how they're I get it. All that's cool.
And they're not that valuable for what they are.
They're not. They're really not that valuable considering how low the pop is. And this one I'm really proud of. I was really excited about this one.
Cool
and I know you got the big dog. You got the 10, but I was extremely happy. I'm pretty sure. I don't know for sure. Is that a new label? I think this is the one that I sent in that got graded and came back an 8. God, I might be wrong. Does that look like a new label to you? Like it could have been in the last 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, I mean, it has a lighthouse on it. So.
Okay, I think that's the one I graded. Gold medallion 9. There's not very many of these in 10. So picked up this nice little gold medallion. This SPX Forces, I think, or SPX Force, sorry, is what it's called. I didn't know this, Josh. There's a couple of options here, right, with a different quartet of players. So Jordan is featured on this one, and this one is Penny, Damon Stoudemire, and Sean Kemp and Jordan.
Yep.
I think there's another one with 3 other different people with Jordan, right?
There are. Yep.
Okay. 9 for me there, and this is more like it with SPX. Look how sharp and pointy and impossible to preserve. That's probably an extremely generous 9, to be quite honest with you. We've got the Record Breaker, another SPX Record Breaker, Hall of You Heroes and Record Breaker. The Vortex, I did grade this one. So I sent it in the first time to PSA, Josh. It came back, what do you think? N6, men's size. We're not going to grade it. You trimmed it. Yeah, right. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm not taking no for an answer. I sent it in again. Guess what they did? N6, sent it back to me, men's size. I was like, you know what? Cajuns are stubborn. I'm not taking no for an answer. I'm going to get the right grader. I sent it in again, PSA 8, which is an awesome grade for this card.
Yeah, I was going to say that's third time's a charm, right?
This card is impossible to get in a high grade. And mine's a really good looking copy. You can see just a little hint in the top left corner of some white up there. The surface was immaculate. In the bottom of left corners are banging, man. This is a really good, clean copy here. So PSA 8, I am absolutely fine with it. I'll probably never add a higher grade copy of this card into my collection.
Good looking card too.
Yeah. And then this one I was thrilled about because I did grade it myself from the cross country collection, and that completed my quartet. So I've got the Tops and Tops Chrome Sticky Fingers and the Tops and Tops Chrome in Fuego now. So I've got all 4 of those in PSA 10. Yeah, so I can put that one to bed. That's like my Josh Dawson impersonation, finishing that up. This one I picked up from the great Grant Slayton, if I'm not mistaken. Waldorf Stories on Instagram, one of the best dealers around, one of the biggest dealers around for sure, up in the Chicago area or Wisconsin area, maybe. Wisconsin?
Yes.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I think our friend, the fake Josh Adams, Midwest Vintage Cards, I think traded this to Grant, and then he posted something in a Jordan group that we're in, and I was like, dude, does he still have it? And he's like, I don't know, ask him. And of course, I reached out to Grant, and we got a deal done right away. So I'm happy about this one, Josh. Tell us a little bit about this. This is the 97 Upper Deck Grade 8, and it's a PSA 10, serial numbered.
And it is numbered. Yep.
Yeah, right there, 677 out of 800. So pre-printed denominator, stamped numerator. So we've seen handwritten numerator, pre-printed denominator, but I don't think we've seen very many stamped numerators and pre-printed denominators. So pretty
a lot better looking in person too. This card doesn't do justice on the screen, but it is really nice with a foil finish in the front.
Yeah, and it's got those four white borders. Great for edges and corners. Not great for trying to find a perfectly centered one because you can't hide it, right? It's just so glaringly obvious. In the back, same deal. Like if you don't have equidistant borders, you're going to get rung up. And so that was a huge pickup for me on a private deal that I got done. And then this one, I told you, I bought a 9 placeholder, and then like a week later, this thing, I think it went up for auction, and I was like, oh, I'm going balls deep here. I'm going all in. I'm going to get this damn thing. And so I got it, and I got it for the Jason Caffey. I mean, Jordan is on the card, but I collect Caffey, as everybody knows.
I still need this with the coating.
You need it with the coating, and that's when you're elite, right? You're checking off your with coating list. What else do we have? Champions of the Court. That's a placeholder. I graded a bunch of these, and they got murdered, destroyed. This was the best of the results that I got. A PSA 8. There's a film on this card.
Yeah,
I'm not saying there's a film on this one you're looking at, but this card came with a film on top. It's not a coating like finest coating where there's words on it and it's obvious. Yeah. I didn't know, and I had the cards. I'm looking at the cards, Josh, and I didn't know there was a coating on there, and I felt really stupid. So I took it off the same way I take off a coating on a finest. And it was still terrible underneath. The surface was horrible. PSA 8, just placeholder there. Round ball royalty. I had the refractor 9.5 BGS, and now I've got the base PSA 10. This one actually came back from PSA. Round ball royalty base, Rockstar refractor base, Generations base. Those cards are lower pop than people realize, and I think there's a hidden latent demand for those because the refractor big brother is so popular, don't you think?
I think so, and I'm a big fan of the Rockstars, and I know a lot of people don't love it, but I guess it's because I pulled it and I was collecting at the time, but I love the Rockstar refractor.
Yeah.
Personally.
Moving on, let's see. Arena Stars, That's the best I'm going to get because I know what a PSA 10 costs, and I'm not paying it unless something changes. And I'm sure that ship has sailed. I don't think that PSA 10 price for the Arena Stars is coming back, and I don't think the pop's going to go up because I graded one. I think I got a 7 on the one that I graded. But here's a PSA 9 copy. It's just going to have to do. This card and Hardwood Heroes remind me of each other. Do they remind you?
Very much. They have that for that holographic background and stuff on part of the card.
Yeah, it's almost like Enfuego and Sticky Fingers that we talked about a second ago. They feel like they belong together, like they should be paired together. Finest Hot Stuff 9. I can't get the 10. I graded. Actually, I do have one more at PSA right now that I'm fingers crossed. Maybe I can get it. I peeled the coating off of this and it came back a 9, which I was honestly pretty damn happy about. Showstoppers, you know how many of these there are. What are there, like 17 or something crazy? Like
again, this one just like the 8. This one is much prettier in hand and shines like crazy in hand.
I want to make sure I'm not crazy. That's not gonna work. What year is that Topps card, Josh? What year is the Showstopper? Oh, you know what? It's 2 words. That's why. Hang on. It's pulling up all those. Maybe I'm stupid. Yeah. What year is it? What year was I looking at? 1995.
95.
All right. We're going to find this to make sure I'm not nuts. I just don't. And in fact, the fact that none of them are pulling. Oh, of course. There it is. Okay. Here we go. $2,000 for the last PSA 10. Oh, that's what I thought. Pop 2. You've got one?
I think I do. I have to check. I don't remember if this one's a 10.
Can you believe that? Look at that gem rate, 1.39%. I picked up the 9. There's 48 of those. The PSA 10 is pop 2. Oh, my God. The last one of those sold in 2019 for $511. That's probably you bastard. I bet you it's a big card now. That's a card that there's some people out there in the hobby who love PSA 10s. That's a card that they will chase. Another SP.
There's your answer, Brian.
What's that?
There's your answer. I do.
Son of a bitch. One of the two. That's half the world's population.
Yeah.
It's half the world's population. I'm going to be okay without that. What did I just do? Okay, here we're back. SP Hollow Views, PC 5, PSA 9. That's a tough card. Not many 10s of that one out there. Josh, I want to talk about this card a little bit more. So there's red, green, blue, and then, of course, the
yellow. There's red, green, blue. There's is there yellow?
No yellow.
There's gold, right?
Well, StarQuest Gold, number to 100. Yep. Yeah, that's the big dog, right? And then these are relatively affordable, not so much in PSA 10, but relatively affordable. Did I mess up not including this in the hierarchy? I think I ruled it out, and I'm not sure we should have. Did I mess something up there?
It is an insert.
It is?
I believe it is an insert, but they have so many variations of it. We could have missed putting
I might have
this in.
screwed this up. There's another one we're going to talk about in 2 seconds that I think I also might have screwed up. And again, I've told people from the jump, I am not infallible, and it was a lot of there was a lot on my plate, and even together with me leaning heavily on you. There's no buffet. It's not like here's the list of all the inserts and parallels. Pick which ones you want to put in the hierarchy. That did not exist, right? I tried to create the buffet with your help. So
right.
It's quite possible that when the hierarchy 2.0 arrives, whenever that is, whatever decade that happens, somebody will say you forgot this, and this, and they definitely belong in. Or maybe not definitely, but they could belong in. And I think this might be one we need to revisit whether or not it fit the criteria. Here's the other one that I wanted to show you.
Yep, the 3 panel.
I agree. We screwed this up. This definitely belonged in the hierarchy, and we could have used one picture because it could all deal, right, Josh? And so this is the 1997 UD3 MJ3-1, MJ3-2. And MJ3-3, and they fit together in a triptych format like that. So that's another one we probably did forget. That's that's jumping forward to one of the questions that people asked us of, if you had to do it over again, is there some cards that you thought that you meant to include and you either should have or didn't or whatever. So that's one of them. Let me keep going because I'm bogging us down here. First day issue, PSA 8. That's a placeholder. Is that card. Remember that card because there's a question coming up that came from Instagram that said, are there cards that are significantly more rare than you realized when you did the project? First day issues fall into that category. Do you agree with me on that?
I do. Yep.
Those are rare. And here's the 1993 Stadium Club #1 first day issue. And there's your first day issue stamp right there. And that's a PSA 9. So a little bit nicer copy there. Platinum Medallion. This one I was happy about, right?
Yep.
Nice little tier 2. The cheapest of all the Platinum Medallions, I think, if I recall, is 98 Greats. They have a Platinum Medallion 98 Great. That might be cheaper.
Yeah, that might be the cheapest one.
Yeah, but this Step It Up is not crazy. It did not break the bank. Awesome Action. I was happy to get this in a PSA 10. There's not very many of those out there. A card that you alerted me to. I would never have included it in the hierarchy if it wasn't for you. I didn't even know to look for it. But it's a card that looks much better in hand. This looks kind of dreary and drab. But
not a foil.
Yep. Yeah, you can't see the red foil Awesome Action printed up there, but it's a cool card for sure in PSA 10. And we're getting to the end here. Atomic Refractor 10. I had a 9.5. It's one of the rare times I decided to upgrade. And I only did it because I won it for what I thought was a very good price. And so bought the 10 on PWCC, if I'm not mistaken, and then immediately listed the BGS 9.5 and sold it on PWCC to recoup my cost. The Double Trouble. I have a gold medallion PSA 10, but I didn't have the base Double Trouble PSA 10. So I added that one. And then the Silky Smooth. We talked about this card a lot. People have a lot of
netting.
Yeah. I asked them to slab it authentic. I didn't need. I'm sorry. I bought this one. I've got one at PSA right now. Fingers crossed. Actually, I might have sent that to Beckett. I don't know. I know it's not in my possession, and I'm waiting for it to get graded. I bought this one for sure. I think I got it on Golden, maybe. I'm not sure. And then this is probably the biggest one that I did pick up, Josh. The 97 SP Authentic Profiles 3.
Number to 100 die cut. That's a tough card.
Serial number to 100. Great image of Jordan Duncan on Dream down there. There's a Profiles 2, Profiles 3. There's those 3, and this is the die cut serial number to 100 version. So that was the big dog. What else? Anything else? Let's see what 40-something says. What is your impression of the 101 Wemby getting a 10 when it clearly not a 10? Secondly, how long can PSA keep doing that and people follow them? There's a bunch of questions in there. First of all, what's your impression of the 1/1 black getting a 10?
I don't disagree that it was off center. It probably should have gotten a 9. Getting into the whole cleaning and Kurt's card care is a whole nother discussion.
We're not going to do it.
No.
But we can answer the next question, which is how long can PSA keep doing that and people follow them?
Well,
I have an answer to that. Let me go first.
They just bought SGC. They are the market leader, and the fact is the reason they demand a premium and people go to PSA is because of the resale value and the guarantee.
And you left out the thing that matters the most to you.
The set registry.
The set registry, dude. That's the trifecta, man. All 3 of those things matter. They matter. They just do. And pop reports and the quantity that's in their pop reports. Look, there's a saying down here in Louisiana, first to the plate eats, meaning whoever gets to the dinner table first, that's who's going to get all the food. And if there's none left, there's none left. And PSA they weren't first to the plate. Beckett was. But guess who dropped the ball? Somewhere down the road, Beckett dropped the damn ball. And PSA took the ball and ran with it. And Beckett is not even in the rearview mirror. They just swallowed SGC. And so 40-something, I get what you're saying, and I echo your thoughts. I wish PSA was more predictable, more transparent about why a particular card gets a certain grade. I wish there was more consistency in the grades I receive on the same types of cards with the same scrutiny from the same era featuring the same player that I submit to them. But it is a damn roller coaster circus, and I am having fun. I'm having fun at the circus. And the value is just so great. And here's the thing, Josh, the disparity in value, it's not shrinking. And there's this perception out there, the anti-PSA people, and I'm not saying you are 40-something, but there's this perception that, like, everybody's got their pitchforks and torches and they want PSA to burn. And Well, then why are their cards worth more and from a profit margin than any other product? Why are more people using them? Why are they grading more and more cards? I don't know. I just play the game. I didn't invent the game. I just play the game. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't like the cleaning stuff. I don't care about upcharges. I know everybody bitches about upcharges. I don't care. The reason that it's an $8,000 upcharge, which 40 something posts, the reason it's an $8,000 charge is because there's a freaking money back guarantee. If the card's not real. And it's a risky game we play. And I know that the odds are that one-on-one Wemby is real. I mean, I get it. It was pulled from a pack in front of somebody, apparently on video. So there was no risk there. So I get the point there. But I don't know. That's just me. Again, if something better than PSA came along, I am all ears. And you can't say tag yet. Well, you can't say tag at all because the secondary market value for me is not there yet. Okay. I love the way tag looks. I love the idea behind tag. I like a lot of the people behind tag. The customer service at tag was really exceptional. I liked a lot of stuff about it. But if it comes back a tag 900 or 9 or whatever, and it's worth less than a raw card, I got problems. I just can't, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that. All right. Let's answer some questions. Q&A. Here we go. First question, Josh. Talk about how the 90s sealed boxes. Oh, by the way, this is from Jordan Rookie Guy. Sounds like my kind of dude. Talk about how the 90s sealed boxes with higher end inserts are going crazy. $35,000 for a 97 Metal Universe, $11,000 for 97 EX 2000 box. Both closed on the last few days on Golden. Prices have 2 to 3x since the last summer. I don't see that. I mean, again, I'm not calling him a liar, but I pulled up some boxes and I did a little digging of my own. I'm not seeing sealed wax going for 2 or 3x from last summer. In fact, there's only 2 boxes in the Card Ladder database. One is 97 Topps Chrome, and that box right here is down 1% over the last 1 year. And then the other one was 97 Flair Showcase, which is an awesome. I couldn't imagine how much fun that would be to rip. It's a $2,000 box, and that is down 1.56% over the last year. So if anything, they look flat to me. I don't see 2 to 3x.
I think the Flair, the metal, Skybox metal have gone up. The problem with those is if you think it's a risky game to open a brand new product, this is the riskiest game there is because the chances, I mean, you see Nat Turner opening these crazy rare boxes. You see Sam Nibani open these crazy boxes, right?
Yep.
It's a risky game. You can hit it big, but especially with things like metal, the cards brick and they stick together terribly. I opened a box of 96, 97 Bowman's Best not too long ago, and the cards stick together badly. Yeah, it's really tough. And these, look at that right there, $35,000.
Yeah, no, I know that happened.
Yep,
29,000. That was a year ago. So from 29 to 34, and then here it is in January. It was 34. I just don't think I don't think there's this massive crazy movement in price of wax.
No, I think the idea that there's a green PMG of Jordan in there is absurd, right?
It's no different than walking into a gas station and paying the idiot tax, which is what I call the lottery tickets that people buy. Yeah. Could you pull the lottery ticket that gets you bazillions of dollars? Of course you can. But I just think your money is spent better elsewhere personally.
Yeah, I've always found when opening new products, if I want a Wemby card, I'm not going to go chase it. I'm going to buy the best one I can for the money I have.
I scratched the itch. I did it. I opened a case of soccer the other day, and I got absolutely demolished, of course, as expected. But, it's a great reminder, and it's a very affordable reminder. It's not like 97 Metal Universe. If you think you're pulling 30 grand out of there, well, how about this? You could pull a Shaq PMG Red and not get your money back. That should scare the shit out of you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, am I right?
Yeah.
Always like to learn about spotting fakes of different cards like Hot Shots and Cut Above. You could tell by the way the flames blades are cut, something like that. Then just your favorite cards. top 10 refractors, top 10 inserts, top 10 parallels, top 10 autos. That's a cheating question. That's like 100 questions, and he's asking for our top 40 cards. That's too much. Josh, my perspective on fakes and autos is I'm not the guy. I'll just leave it at that. I always ask somebody else with more knowledge, and you and I both know people in the hobby that have a lot more knowledge.
Yeah.
In green light cards that you and I might be looking at purchasing. I never make that decision on my own. The only advice I'll give to anybody out there, I don't care if you've been collecting 25 years, is if you know this is a card that is often faked, or you have any doubt whatsoever that the card's authentic, or not, please, for God's sakes, it doesn't cost any money or take any time. Go out there and find some other folks that will kind of vet it and at least take a look at it, and just to give you a little peace of mind, especially if you're spending 4 or 5 figures on the card.
Or send it to us and we'll help.
Yeah,
because we have the right contacts.
Yeah, don't send it to me. Send it to Josh, because people send me cards all the time and say, "Does this look real?" And it's like some kind of patch auto, and I'm like, "Dude, I don't even know what I'm looking at. I don't collect that." Like, I'm an idiot.
The big men on court in some of these cards that are very faked, the serial numbered cards, right, like the rubies. I definitely am not the right person to solidify. I can give you a guesstimate, but I will go to others who 100% can guarantee and check off the box and compare versus real and fakes and tell me if it's real. And those are the guys I go to as well.
Yeah.
And I'll put a little caveat on that. If it's a PSA graded card, like a PSA 9, and you think it's fake, it doesn't really matter, because if you buy it on the cheap, they have a guarantee that it is real. And if it's not real, you give it back to them. They'll pay you out as if it was real, and then you go buy a real one.
Just to reiterate, I just did a video on this because I did not realize that the particular Ultra Platinum Medallion that I was buying was, there were fakes out there. It was in a PSA slab. I bought it. Multiple people messaged me and said fake. And I'm like, oh, crap. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Message Nat. I said, Nat, who do I talk to? He gave me a person to talk to in the customer service, or CRC, I think is what it's called, that division. Sent it to them. They identified it as a fake in 72 hours from the time they got it, Josh. And then they agreed with me on the value of the card to the penny. And I got a check in the mail for in 30 days. All of it back. So no harm done whatsoever. If that card had been, and again, I'm not banging on other companies, but the fact of the matter is, if that card had been in certain other grading companies' slabs, I would be out $2,000. And it would have been my fault and their fault, but my fault. I should have run it by the powers that be, and I didn't do it.
Yep.
Lesson learned. Tyler, who is a great Jordan collector as well. Hey, man, love the content, and I'm sure the lower tiers of the hierarchy covered some of these, but it would be nice to see a more condensed video on economy MJ inserts, or some of the weirder insert sets out there like Dunk-O Vision. I think he means Dunk Vision and Diamond Vision. Your videos have helped me so much in my collecting journey. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tyler. That's a great question. Again, now's a great time, Josh. Do you want to remind the people how much some of the cards in tier 3 and tier 4 cost in a PSA 8 slab? Like, some of these cards are like $35.
Yeah, I was going to say, some of them are extremely cheap. And, I hate to admit, there's a couple of them that I'm missing that are less than $200 in a 9.
How about you can go look, and that's why we always say, we have said this, we said it ad nauseum on all those videos we did the first time we did the hierarchy project, is like, you don't have to chase 10s or 9.5s or even 9s or even graded copies. Like, you can go get a Spark Plugs PSA 8 or a Spark Plugs Raw for like $1.50 or something stupid like that. You can go get the Topps Profiles or Topps Chrome Profiles for $25 in a PSA 8, probably less than that, right? A lot of those cards, if you just want to grow your Jordan collection and you're in it for the love of the cards and you're not trying to, retire like so many people are, they kind of try to blend these things, investing and collecting. If you're just in it to collect and you just want to be part of this, you can go do it on an incredibly small budget. I promise you, a Trae Young Red Prism PSA 9 rookie card is more expensive than a lot of the Jordan inserts in tier 4 in PSA 8 slabs. And I mean that. And that's nuts to think about.
And another thing to keep in mind, and it's really, really true, is if you're going to buy something like a Sparks Plugs or one of those cards that are $30 in an 8, if you buy that card raw for $5 and you go get it graded, you're paying the same amount.
Yeah.
And if you get a 7, you're going to lose money, actually. So, sometimes it's better buying the card graded, assuming it looks good, because you're avoiding the grading fees.
Yeah. Ray asks on the screen, Josh, Cajun, when are you going to join the PSA set registry? I'm going to give you my simple, it's a 2-part answer. Number one, Ray, whenever you want to plug in my 970 Jordan cards into the PSA set registry and you've got an extra 7 days on your hands to work 24 hours a day and do all that, you're welcome to do it. And number two is I've got too many BGS cards. It would break my heart. There's just too many BGS cards because I'm an equal opportunity collector from the 90s. When I grade a raw Jordan card, I send it to PSA. But when I'm looking to add a Jordan card to my collection that I don't have, I do not discriminate on BGS versus PSA. If it's a 9.5 BGS or sometimes even an 8.5 or a 9, if it's a card that's important enough, I do not discriminate. If I had to choose, I would choose the PSA for the reasons already mentioned. But I've got, of my, let's just call it 1,000 Jordan cards in my vault. Actually, well, I can't. Hang on. Let me count. I have got, oh no, that's not it. Hang on. 922 Jordan cards. Sorry, I couldn't put that on the screen. I've got 922 Jordan cards, Josh. I can't possibly imagine if maybe 300 of them are BGS, dude. Seriously. And then I can't imagine starting from scratch and putting in 922 cert numbers. I would freaking lose my mind.
Yeah. And I have quite a few, but I have 20 or 30 BGS cards that are really great for the set registry, but I'm not willing to go from a 9.5 to a 7.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go from a 9.5 to a 9.
Yeah.
But because of the disparity being so large from PSA, I'm happy with my 9.5, and it will never plug that hole in my set registry either. So
yeah,
it's okay.
I'm the same way, except I would have I'd have hundreds of holes, and you would have a couple. I have hundreds. Johnny Rods asked, my favorite Jordan card I own is the 94 Stadium Club members only 50 PSA 10 Pop 55. I've got it. In fact, I just got it, and I just graded the exact same card. I was excited about it as well. And then 40-something says old boxes have bricking, or yeah, no question about that. I can vouch for that. I got burned on a 93 Skybox Premium box that I bought for very little, right? But I was trying to pull a center stage. I pulled the center stage, and it was a Jordan center stage. And when I went and took it off, there was a white fuzz everywhere where the paper had come off because the gloss had attached to the gloss on the back of the card next to it. So that was the only reminder I needed. And it was a one-time eternal lesson. I ain't buying 90s, man. I'm not taking any chances on that. Next question, Josh, can you review again how you narrowed down the tiers criteria? This is from Soccer Cards. Soccer Cards. Okay. Can you review how you narrowed down the tiers and criteria, et cetera? I'll answer the criteria.
Yeah.
The criteria is we kind of discussed this. We wanted it to be a manageable quantity of cards. Okay. Yeah. So if we included Wizards cards, autograph cards, patch cards, exquisite cards, base cards, there's already something for that. You know what? It's called the Super. It's called the PSA Set Registry Super, right? Or Master List or whatever y'all call it. Yeah. I wanted something that was digestible. It had to fit on a 2x3 poster, and it needed to be a quantifiable, measurable number of cards, which is, it ended up being around 350, something like that, whatever 14 times 27 is, right? So we started to weed things out. And that's just kind of how we arrived at inserts and parallels. And then there are some caveats. If you're curious about what those caveats are, go back and watch the videos or buy a poster. By the way, the posters are still available. On the back of the posters, it lists all the rules about what is and isn't included. Josh, how did we narrow down the tiers? I know how.
Yeah, demand, not strictly price, but there was price, demand, scarcity. There's a bunch of criteria that, when all things taken into account, we had to really consider, even though an 86 Fleer Jordan, you can find it every single show you go to. The fact is the demand is there to put it in tier 1, for example. And it's really about scarcity and demand more than anything else. I think we tried not to make the most valuable cards tier 1 and the second. It happens to be that way in some cases, but it's not purely based on price. So we took a lot of time taking into all the different aspects, to put these in the right tiers. And again, some may not be in the right tiers.
Demand, scarcity, value, aesthetics, and not in that order. Yeah. Demand was number 1 because I didn't want this to be about me and the cards that I like the most. That doesn't help anybody, right? This was, I tried to pull kind of tons of information from not just different collectors, but from the data. And so demand is one of the 4 criteria that is the most heavily weighted. And that's why you'll see, the 86 Fleer Jordan in tier 1. That's why you'll see the 93 Scoring Kings in tier 2. You can pick that card up in a PSA 7 for $500 or whatever, right? And so it doesn't belong in tier 2 because of value or because of scarcity. There's probably 1,000 of them graded or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Yep. But there's over 100 PSA 10s. I know that. So demand is what got it in there. And demand, I thought, was the most important when putting it together. But those are the 4 criteria. And that's how we narrowed it down. Here's a great question, Josh, and I'm curious to get your answer. I think I know your answer. Do you buy raw Jordan inserts off of eBay to grade or too big of a risk? That's from Wes Morash.
If I can't find it any other way, I will. I just bought one Wizards card with the jersey patch that I thought was very cool. I don't see many of them graded, hardly at all, much less in high grade. It looked really nice in person. It is as nice as it looked with the high quality scans. I did ask for extra pictures. I got those, and I will get that graded. So it kind of depends. If you can readily go get that in a PSA 9 affordably, then I wouldn't go get a raw card and try to get it graded for the fee. It just also depends on how expensive it gets as you move up the tiers, right? If a PSA 9 is $10,000, and obviously then that's not affordable for most everyone. So I would then I would look for either a lesser copy or potentially a raw one. Again, you got to worry about fakes, you got to worry about other things. So
Wes, again, without having more perspective about why you're asking the question, it's hard to say. If you're asking buy raw, grade, sell, that's one thing. If you're asking just buy raw and collect raw, that's another thing. If you're asking buy raw, grade, keep in your possession forever because you're a collector, that's another thing. So there's 3 different perspectives that you may be asking that question from. And as far as risk go, there's 2 risks that I can think of. Number 1, the risk is you might be buying a fake card. Now, we kind of know that the scope of how many cards are fake is not that many of them out there. And it's the lower ends are very rarely fake because it's not in the criminal's best interest to spend a lot of time faking a $12 card, especially a raw, $12, $15, $40, $50 card. So it's usually on the big dogs that are faked. And the other risk is you may look at it and you may get the best images in the world and it may look like a 10 and you may get a 7. And it may even deserve a 10 and you could still get a 7. Trust me, because it's happened a lot.
And I think that's a good point, Brian, because I bought almost 100 raw Jordan cards recently and I'm having them all graded. But they're 2009 legacy cards that are gold. And the reason I did it is because they were $1 to $2 each. Yep. And a Gem Mint 10 goes for about $100.
Yep.
And so it just made sense at $15 a grading fee. I'm making sure every single one of them that I've sent in had a chance of a 10. And
it's a math equation, Wes. It is a math equation, and I'll say this. The one piece of advice that I'll give you is if you really are looking to find that particular raw insert in a high grade, I would put more than one bullet in your gun when you shoot that thing to PSA. I would put about 8 to 10 of them in there. You have a better chance of getting a 9 or a 10 if you have 8 to 10 in there than if you just send 1 or 2. And that's just common sense. Of course, that's not anything novel or inventive here, but I've had success doing it that way. But again, and then the other thing is if you buy it raw and you look at it and it's in your hand, Josh, and you are like, I know enough about grading cards, that's not going to get the grade that I wanted to get. Then go sell it. don't just throw it in a box. Go sell it raw. Just same way somebody sold it to you, go recoup some of your money. Be very transparent. Like if you see a noticeable glaring error on the card or a glitch or something wrong with it, or there's an indentation or a dimple, state it. Sell it honestly and transparently, but sell it and get some money back and then rinse and repeat and go find the one that does look good to you. Yep. Do any cards move up or down in your eyes after going through the project? Like, did you think a certain card wasn't that great, and then after doing research, we're like, wow, that card is pretty awesome, or vice versa? It's funny because, Josh, do you remember way back when, a year ago, when we did the last episode? The last episode was about, we made some changes. We moved cards up and down. The one that comes to mind, do you remember the one that comes to mind the most that actually moved into tier 2?
I do, and I forgot.
Illuminator.
Yeah.
The Illuminator.
Yeah. And that's that. After doing the homework, I'll just dig into it real quick. The Illuminator is the rarest non-numbered card there is of Michael Jordan.
Yes.
If you do the math, there are 63 Illuminators. That's it. Yeah. 63 Illuminators, 125 Luminescence, and 500 Luminators.
Now, it does help that there's a T1B and a T9B. So there's two options, but for each one, those are like 63. And so it's not, they have the smallest number in the PSA or BGS pop report. It's the print run as a non-serial number Jordan. The general consensus is that is the rarest of them. And it is
this question I really loved. And I found that a lot of the rare high-end inserts that are non-numbered already, those are the ones that I took, by doing the math, doing the pack odds, and then coming back, finding out that the Platinum Portraits, which is very desirable, is actually less rare than, another card, So, and I actually pulled out quite a few of them, and there's 521 Platinum Portraits, but there's only 223 Championship Hardwares.
Yeah.
Championship Hardware is so much harder to get than a Platinum Portraits, but it's not valued the same way.
Wait, Championship Galaxy or Championship Hardware?
Championship Hardware.
Okay. We got about 15 minutes, Josh. Ty asked the question, Cajun, do you ever plan to do a base card hierarchy? I know it's been talked about and asked from several people. I'm just gonna let a sliver of information out here, okay, Josh? Josh, you have some idea because I mentioned to you what you thought about it. I have an idea for a project. I've got too much going on with this cross-country collection. I can't wait to wrap it up. I want to get to the National. I want to get back in Baton Rouge, and I've already started on something. It's not a base hierarchy, but it's you people are going to love it. The people who love to collect Jordan, not just the high-end stuff, but the low-end stuff and the base cards. I do have a project, but it's not like the hierarchy. It's not the same thing. It's going to be novel and different, and I don't think anybody's ever done it. And let's put it this way, it's not going to be my opinion. Let's just put it this way, and I'll just leave it at that. But you guys are going to absolutely love it, and it's going to take months and months of content to start to finish. So y'all are going to love that. I am going to do it. Trust me on that. Buy raw and keep taking risk. Is the Jordan 98 SPX finite set something you guys are chasing or have chased? An interesting serial number range. Have you tried grading this set, Josh?
Yeah, it's a really hard set. It is really hard because not only are they numbered pretty low, especially the Spectrum, which is numbered to 25, but those cards flake, they chip. They're the foil. They're all foil cards from Finite. I do love that set. I don't have all the, some of them are horizontal, some are vertical. I probably have a little over half of them. I do have the Spectrum red one that's numbered to 25. That's a tough one, but there's a lot of them that are numbered to, less than 1,000 that are really hard to get graded and really hard to even find raw.
If I recall, there's also a lot of them that are very high numbered. Like I think I had some that were like 2,300 or something crazy.
There's one I think it's 5,900 or something too. Yeah, I mean, there's some that are really, but those are hard to find in good shape.
Horrible shape. Josh, they were and this guy took care of his cards, man, because I've had some great results with PSA. All of the SPX Finite from 98 they got decimated by PSA, destroyed.
Yeah.
So I just moved them along. I mean, they were sick. I mean, when I mean destroyed, like 5, 6s, and 7s, destroyed, man. Wes asked this question. I'm going to answer this in one word, Josh. ripping any particular wax for Jordans worth the risk reward? Never, with a capital N. In fact, it's a capital Never, all capitals. It's never, ever, ever. And that you don't even have to have Jordan. Is it worth it to rip wax to pull fill in the blank player? The answer is always never. It is never worth it. It does never make sense. Go buy the card you want if there's a card you want. Any disagreement with you from that?
No. That's absolutely the right rule.
One word. I think a great topic would be a top 5 or 10 list of the cards that didn't make the hierarchy, or maybe just openly discuss some that didn't make it. Super scarce, thereby not making it very collectible. There is such a thing as too scarce to be collected. It's so scarce that the demand is negligible, and that kind of is something we talked about with the hoop starting 5, Josh. And then number 2, almost too plentiful as a whole, but really hard to find a gem. Brian, that's a great question. I'm going to kind of skip over it because we talked about those where we regret not putting it in the hierarchy.
I'll mention kind of on both points. On the super scarce and it didn't make the hierarchy, things like the Caesar's Lake Tahoe card, the air cards that are super rare with McDice in the background. Those kind of things are super rare. They didn't make the hierarchy because they are a bit oddball. They are extremely tough to find. I don't care if they're raw, whatever grade, you just can't find them. The ones that are, more plentiful but hard to gem, I'll give you a great example because I'm missing it on the hierarchy and I really want it, is Apparitions. 1998 Topps Apparitions. That card is a pop 2, 10.
Yeah.
I will stop at a 10. I'm just looking for a 9 right now.
I am too. It's a showstoppers pop 2, baby, in PSA 10.
Yeah. So there's some cheaper cards that are plentiful. You can find them for $30 all day long, right? But they're $1,000 in a 10 if you can even find one.
Just a quick reminder, in the hierarchy project, if you're wondering, there was no Jordan-only set cards included in there. So any of these sets, even if it was serial number to 23, but it was all Jordans, 1 through whatever, we didn't include those. Foreign cards, not included. All of the Jordan 1-of-1s, not included. Any Jordan card after the year 1999, anything 2000 or beyond, not included. Any patch, not included. Any autograph, not included. Any true base or subset card, not included unless it was considered a rookie or a pre-rookie of some sort, i.e. Interlake Star, 86 Fleer, sticker and, sticker's an insert, but 86 Fleer 57 and Star 101 and Nike promo and Interlake. So those you'll see, but no other base cards will you find in the hierarchy project. We had to cut it, man. We had to cut it somewhere.
If you dare, 1998 Upper Deck is a rabbit hole that spreads through many, many different tunnels.
Dude.
It's almost daunting. Half of the boxes I have of the Jordan collection I have are 1998 Upper Deck.
They went bananas. You think Panini chases the dollar? Good Lord, 98 Upper Deck. And I didn't realize it. And you and Stan and Frankie, y'all talk about 98 as being the year that they just opened the floodgates. I didn't realize it until I started flipping through this cross-country collection. And it's like I've pulled hundreds of serial numbered cards. All of them are from 1998. Almost
some of them are beautiful. Holographics, it's a beautiful set, right?
Yeah.
There's some beautiful, beautiful sets in there, but they're all Jordan. And it's just a rabbit hole that, there's sets upon sets upon sets. And they are part of the registry.
Why is the 96 Collector's Choice MJ Game Face such a low pop insert? And do you think it's an underrated insert? I don't think it's an insert, is it? The Game Face or Images? What is it called? Images?
I think it's Game Face. Yeah. It's the one. Yeah. Can you look it up real quick?
Let's look it up.
Yeah, it's the one where his head's really. I'm pretty sure it's the one where his head's really, really large from Collector's Choice.
I might be talking about a different card. I was thinking Images of 95. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just put in Game Face Jordan, you'll find it. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
That's a good point. That's a card that could have been included.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it's a really nice card. It's kind of plain, right? It's not very flashy, but I love the image. The picture of Jordan's great.
$363. Damn, why didn't I include that? It's just one of those deals where oops, I screwed up. Hierarchy 2.0, you never know. We might move this in and take out all those stupid upper deck wilds and all that crap that doesn't even exist, right? Those are myths. Those, you could put them in the same bucket as the one-of-ones because you just don't ever see those stupid things, those quantum gold things. This is a card that probably should have been included. Riker, I'm glad you pointed that out. I was thinking you were talking about this card. I think that's, is that going to pull it up? Maybe not.
Images?
Take out this. I thought it was called Images of 90. Yeah, that. I thought that's what he was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's not an insert. That's a subset card. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. Riker, that's a great one, dude. And I'm glad we went live because I would not have thought about that had you not brought it up. Before we ever do, if one day we'll do it, Josh. One day we'll dive back in when we're bored and hopefully our brain still works, and we'll dig back in and we'll revamp it and we'll do a hierarchy 2.0. Down a couple years down the road, and these are the types of things that we'll solicit from the people. Because, like I said, it wasn't like they were all laying on a table and we got to pick and choose which one we wanted. We had to go figure it out,
right?
We had to think, oh God, well, I didn't know how else to do it. So,
and to answer that question, I don't know that it's underrated, but it's low pop because it is condition sensitive, I think.
Yeah, this is a great example, Riker, of sometimes cards are low pop, not because they're scarce, but because they're so inexpensive that nobody thought to grade them. And so you're always kind of straddling that balance and trying to find that equilibrium. Like, should this, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Eventually, it will all find its equilibrium. We'll find our saturation price point. I wonder what the last one of these bad boys sold for.
Yeah, and it's tough the centering on that has to be absolutely perfect, too.
Yeah. 1996 Game Face Jordan PSA 10. The last one sold for $363, $765. Good Lord. 326, 455, 411. That's people buying this, saying, oh, there's 18 of them. I'm going to get it. Let's go back to Wes's question. You might be better off just buying 100 of them raw, sending it to PSA. I will be shocked if you didn't get one PSA 10, right? And 100 of them raw is going to cost you about $150 if I had to guess. That's wild. Again, that's with me. I'm not looking at prices of a raw one at all, but I bet it's not that. 7, 3, 3. Yeah. So when you put in PSA 8, this is going to be 20. Sorry, yeah. 13, 20, 20, 20, 20, 49. This is basically another spark plug or another Topps profiles where there's a bazillion of them, but people hadn't thought to grade them all. And so there's a few 10s.
You can buy from $8 to $12 raw.
Yeah. Do you think sealed wax from the 90s will outpace Jordan cards themselves in terms of growth? Yes or no question?
No.
I agree. Given the various multipliers for this looks complex. Who is this? Goats and pros. Here we go. Given the various multipliers for BGS 9.5 to PSA 10, would you rather own one PSA 10 tier 2 or multiple, maybe 3 or 4 BGS 9.5 tier 2 MJs for the same cost?
It's a good question. It's tough because I take the 86 Fleer. There are some BGS 9.5s that look as good or better than some PSA 10s, and you can get 3 of them for the price of one.
Pretty close.
So it's a good question, and it depends on the card for me.
I will answer the question in a similar fashion. In fact, it's so funny because I've got a video that's scheduled to come out this week called This or That. And we compare one Michael Jordan PSA 10 card that costs about $9,600 with what you could get, including the same card in a PSA 9 and 7 other cards in PSA 9 for the same price. And it basically just begs the question, what kind of collector are you? What do you want? Do you want the best of the best of the best over here on this side? Or do you want to collect an army over here on the left side? And I waffle back and forth, Josh. I kind of get elite and snobby like you, and I collect 10s and but I also collect 9.5s, especially the min gems. And then sometimes I'm like, I'd rather just get 8 PSA 9s, fill some of these gaps, and worry about the 10s later. The good news,
the last 3 cards I bought were PSA 4s and 5s.
Yeah.
So you can only be a snob up to the point where you can't find the cards.
Yeah. The good news is that you can always change your mind. That's the good news. If there was a tier 5, what is the first MJ that comes to mind for this? For me, it's the game face now. That's number one. Game face. There's your answer. Would you or Josh ever sell your entire MJ collection if it was the only way you could get a PMG green? This is an easy one-word answer.
Hell no.
It's the same answer I gave earlier. Capital Never. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's cards that I envy for sure that I would love to own, but I love my Jordan cards and all the variations of the colors and the die cuts and everything else way too much to get rid of them for 1 or 2 cards.
I mean, part of the reason we love doing this is we like sharing cards on videos. We like sharing cards on Instagram. We like chasing cards. We like looking at cards. What am I going to do? Show everybody my PMG green every single day on Instagram? People are going to freaking hate me. They already probably don't like me. They're really going to hate me if I'm showing them the same freaking card every day. Half the reason people tolerate me is because I show them a different Jordan card every day, So absolutely zero, never, ever, no way ever would I ever do that. One last question from Justin Harvey. Hey, Brian, I know you were asking for topics. Refractors versus foil. And I'll paraphrase it. He wants to know, do you like refractors more or foil cards more?
Refractors. Specifically atomic refractors for me.
Yeah. I just refuse to answer this one. How about that? I'm just not going to answer because so many of my favorite cards. There's
a lot of foil cards I love, but if I had, I'm a sucker for the shiny colors, So I you showed the the atomic refractor earlier. That one is clear, so it's hard to see, but some of the atomic refractors are just drop dead gorgeous in terms of
dude, your base 96 and 97, when you get ones that are truly perfect color, those are tough to turn away from. Those are some beautiful looking cards. Those are just base refractors, man. That's a tough one to answer because honestly, some of the foil cards refract more than the refractor cards do, in my opinion. And
I'll give you one because I have it right here.
You just look at one, Josh. Arena Stars, dude. That Arena Stars card, freaking Oh shit, yes. Exactly.
This one.
Stars gold.
This is one of my favorite cards. It refracts as well as any atomic refractor. And, speaking of low numbers, there's less than 90 of those in the world.
And by the way, if you guys aren't familiar with the card that Josh just showed, that's like a top zero $75,000 Ultra Stars gold. It's like maybe more, Josh. I don't know.
To be honest, I would rather give up my Jordan PSA 10 rookie card than this, right? Or some other even more valuable cards, because aesthetically, that's one of my favorite cards I own in my entire PC. And I found out through the math that there's 89 Ultra Stars golds of every printed.
So it's right after the Illuminator, almost as rare. I'm lucky. I have a 9.5.
Second rarest non-numbered Jordan card.
Yeah, I have a 9.5 quad, and you've got Big Brother PSA 10, of course. I have a Legacy Collection MJ and a PSA 7. I think it's better. So should I send it to get it regraded? I don't play that game. Well, I don't on big cards.
You think it's better? Oh, so you think it's an 8? Crack it and resubmit it. I wouldn't. It's a dangerous game. You come back with a 6.
Yeah. That's tough. Can't answer those questions. Cajun _cardboard. And Josh is at Northeast Sports Cards. Can't miss us.
Northeast _ sports cards.
Northeast _ We both have underscores. Not sure why, but we do. Anyway, thanks, guys. All right, we're going to kill it here today. This is good, Josh. We're going to keep doing it about every 30 days. Love the questions. I love that we got 37, for lack of a better word, Jordan nerds like us. I don't know what else to call you guys. I mean, that are all engaged, that are all listening, that are all sticking around with absolutely no notice. That's the only way I do live streams. I like to surprise people. It's like an ambush. We're going to do live stream 10 minutes from now, and then we do it. I'm really impressed. Thank you guys for tagging along. Thanks for the awesome questions and the education. I mean, every time I do one of these things, obviously I'm getting information from Josh that I did not know and I wasn't aware of. So I'm getting a little bit better at my craft. And then some of you guys had posted some stuff, in the comments that I didn't know. And anybody out there who tells you they know everything about Jordan cards, including my bald friend on the screen here, he will be the first one to admit we don't know everything about Jordan cards. I certainly don't know everything about Jordan cards. Nobody does. And that's why it's so fun to be a part of a community because if you ever don't know something for sure, all you got to do is ask. And there's a lot of really helpful people out there that are doing the same things that we do, love it just like we do, and they're always happy to help. Josh, anything else you want to say before we sign off until maybe 30 days from now?
Not right now. I think we'll come up with some more topics. Please send in more questions. We're happy to answer them. I promise I'll give more time spent doing some research and answering those questions. Definitely liked a couple of them for this round.
That's it. We'll do a better job of preparing. We didn't really prepare too much. We could have prepared with some specific cards. You could have had them in hand. I could have pulled them up in my vault, and we could have talked through some of the answers to these questions were pertaining to specific cards. We could have done a better job, but like I said, I'm running around like a chick with my head cut off with the kids and sports and Baton Rouge and all this crap and getting through all this collection. So we are Josh, 4 months away from the National. I've never been this excited. I am going. Hopefully the 33 people that are still listening, you guys are going. It's in Cleveland. And I'm going for an extra day. Not only am I going to be there the whole time, I'm going to be there an extra day. I wanted to get up there Tuesday to grow roots and get settled and lay a foundation and put a game plan together and maybe try to get some pre-national deals done to get some seed money to make some moves. Josh, any big card you're looking at the National that you don't have that you're just like begging, you hope you see it?
That I hope I see it. There's a lot, but not affordable. So to be honest, I probably couldn't pick those up. As far as affordable cards, I'm looking for a couple. The 98 non-protector refractor.
Okay.
I'm looking for the 80. I think it's 80. No, it's not 85. It's 1995 or 1996. It looks like the Star 101, but it's a reprint.
Yeah, there's reprint versions of that reprint,
right? And I don't have that or the refractor version. So there's a couple I'm looking to kind of plug some holes still. So
yeah. Wes says, Josh, I just saw your IG. Put me in your will. Get in line, baby. Get in line, Wes. I'm ahead of you. I'm just after his kid. The bad news, he has too many kids, so neither one of us have a chance. Too many awesome kids. Anyway, Josh, thanks for joining as always. We will do this again in 30 days. I will put something on Instagram and on YouTube kind of announcing this a little bit better so we'll get a little bit larger audience, although the 30 plus of you guys were amazing this time. So thank you guys as always for watching. Keep collecting. Stay positive in the hobby. Peace.